This is Scotland. An audio company called FiFine were kind enough to send me their K690 condenser microphone to test out, this microphone right here. So I thought, rather than just make another boring review video, let's do something a bit different. Visit Scotland are Scotland's national tourist organisation, and they often make some really great looking adverts using some beautiful footage from around Scotland. But more importantly, and particularly for this video, they almost always have a really traditionally Scottish sounding female or male voiceover, just like in these examples.
To feel the sand in your toes on our miles of sandy beaches. To follow in the footsteps of our great ancestors.
It's in our artistry. And across our land.
So I decided to see if we could create an ad with the same voiceover vibe using this microphone. The first step to doing this was to get some footage for our ad and organise it. Fortunately, this was quite easy because I happen to live in Scotland and I also happen to be really interested in making videos. So I have a lot of random footage from around Scotland that I could use within this ad. I pulled this all together into a folder so that we could use this later. Step 2 was to find an appropriate song for the ad, something that would work with the voiceover and would also seem quite epic. For this I turned to epidemic sound, which I tend to use for all of my music. And now it was time to bring everything into DaVinci Resolve for the edit. I started by adding my music to the timeline and editing this down to a minute with the all important build up to the epic finale. Once I decided on the shots I wanted to use, I added them in and matched the cuts to the music. I then corrected and graded the footage quite subtly because I wanted it to feel really realistic. And the final part of this step was to add the Visit Scotland branding so that this really did feel like a Visit Scotland advert. Step 4 was to script the voiceover, plug in the K690 microphone, it's a USB microphone by the way, so it's literally plug and play, and record the voiceover in my very best super Scottish accent. So I need to channel my inner James McAvoy, because this just wouldn't work with any other accents.
This is Scotland, home of Edinburgh. 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 This is Scotland. Back in Mother Russia, it is puny country. It is very small. Plus, this is scenery.
Okay, so I think it's probably time that we maybe try and get a wee Scottish accent going on here. Let's do this. This is Scotland. I'm right, that's the voiceover recorded. But the video sounded a little bit empty without sound design, so the next step was to add in some sound effects and bring the visuals to life. And finally, I could export the video, and here's the result. This is Scotland. A country full of mystery and colour, with beautiful and grand waterfalls, beaches and seaside views. A country made from wild history, traditions both old and new. And of course, we can't forget about our wonderful people. You simply won't find scenery quite like this anywhere else in the world. From castles on hills poking through the clouds, to the jagged mountains and flowing valleys of the Highlands. This is Scotland, and we stand tall. We've got something for everyone, and we welcome you all. So next time you're looking for a place to visit, consider Scotland.
So what did you think of that? Let me know down in the comments right below that like and subscribe button. I'm actually really impressed with the results out of this mic with really not a lot of effort. So for all of you that actually come here to see a review of this microphone, let's get into that. First of all, here are the features of the microphone. It's a USB microphone, which is compatible with both Mac and PC, and it's got a micro USB input directly on the microphone. There are 4 pickup patterns: stereo, omnidirectional, bidirectional, and cardioid, and you can switch between these using the dial on the back of the microphone. Also on the back, there's a dial for adjusting mic gain, and there's a headphone jack for very low latency monitoring, as well as a volume dial to adjust the output of that headphone jack. FiFine have also included a mute button, which is great for streamers or gamers. And if you plan on using the microphone on the go, then there is a built-in removable stand as well. And finally, we have an included thread adapter so that you can mount the microphone on a boom stand, just like I'm doing right now, or mount it anywhere else you want to mount it. So let's talk about all the things I like about this microphone. First off, is the sound quality. It's a microphone, sound quality is really important, and I think for the price, the sound quality is excellent. I think even the raw audio is really good for things like video calls and things like that. It'd be great to kind of up your audio game. And the build quality is reassuringly sturdy, with the main body being made of metal. However, the dials are made of plastic and they kind of move around a little bit in their sockets, which could be a little bit of concern over a long period of time. But something that won't be a concern is the cable. The cable is super thick, so I've got no concerns about the connection, deteriorating over time. And the stand feels really sturdy and supports the microphone really well. In terms of usability, the variety of pickup patterns is fantastic because it makes it usable in a load of different situations. Stereo is cool if you want a more directional sound of what's in front of you. Say you've got two people playing guitars in front of you and you want to be able to hear where the guitar is coming from or where the voice is coming from, and stereo is quite nice for that. Cardioid is probably most useful for my workflow as it rejects all the sounds behind and just takes the audio from the front of the microphone. So you can reject all the sound of your lights or any other sounds that are around you, and it really just picks up your voice, like in this situation. As you can see, it's great for recording voiceovers, and I can also imagine it would be great for podcasts as well if you want to use this mic for that. Omnidirectional mode allows you to record all around the mic, and I think this would be really useful in situations where you maybe want to record a meeting. You could just put the microphone in the middle of a table and it would pick up all the voices around, which would be a great use for if you're maybe wanting to take minutes after a meeting. And finally, bidirectional mode captures audio from the front and the back of the microphone and rejects the sides of the microphone. This would be great for a podcast if you are doing a podcast with a guest and you want to just use the one microphone, place it in the middle of the table, and you can have that conversation and pick up both of your voices. There are also a few negatives that I have to note about this microphone. The cable isn't super long. I think it's probably just over about 2 meters, which is okay, but if you're in a larger studio than the one I use, then it will become probably quite an issue because you'll have to be quite close to your computer to actually use this microphone, which is fine in most cases, but for some cases where you want to move the microphone around, it's not going to be as convenient unless you've got a laptop. And the other thing is that when I plug the microphone into my PS4, it recognizes the microphone as a headset. So to get the audio through your headphones, you need to plug your headphones into the microphone. That produces the audio from the PS4 as well as you can monitor the microphone. But there doesn't seem to be any way to turn off the microphone monitoring. So when you're playing in a party chat, unless you mute your microphone, you'll be able to hear yourself talking. Fortunately, it is very low latency, so it's not really that off-putting because there's no delay. Just bear that in mind, I think, if you're thinking about buying this microphone for streaming maybe, or for gaming as well. But overall, I think this is a fantastic microphone, especially for the price, and I think the results in this video speak for themselves. And a massive thanks again to FiFine for sending out this microphone for me to test out. But that's it. As always, it's been an absolute pleasure, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Cheers.